Hello and welcome to What the Tech from Boast, where we talk with some of the brilliant minds behind new and exciting tech initiatives to learn what it takes to tackle technological uncertainty and eventually change the world. I'm Paul Davenport, Boast resident tech journalist, and today I'm thrilled to welcome to the show Robert Price, founder and CEO of Bōde Canada. At Bōde, Robert and his team are passionate about supporting home affordability through their fully online, platform-driven service that transcends the transactional. To date, Bōde has sold over 3,000 properties and counting, representing $2.25 billion in property across Alberta, BC, and Ontario to homeowners, investors, builders, and executors. As impressive as that track record is on its own, Robert has played a hand across the Canadian tech and entrepreneur ecosystem, serving as a director for Invest Alberta and even being named Canada's top 40 under 40. It's an amazing journey so far, and I can't wait to pick Robert's brain on where he's been and what's next. So, without further ado, welcome to the show, Robert. All right, Robert, I just gave an intro, tried to butter you up a little bit, but I'd love to hear in your words. Tell me about yourself, how you got into the ecosystem, and yeah, what gets you up in the morning and makes you want to be in the startup space?
Yeah, thank you. No, it's great to have the conversation. My background is actually previous company was fiber optics. So a company called Axia, we built a multi-billion dollar company by providing high performing network services to the cloud and to a variety of other customers or a variety of customers going back to the early 2000s, back before it was obvious that the cloud was going to be the cloud. So bringing that experience, this company actually reason I bring it up is a lot of that team ended up with me in this new venture after we sold it in 2018. But where this idea came from was a combination of conversations with our founders, but really it's very painful to sell your home and it's also very expensive. It's fragmented and painful. And when I went through my own experience in Calgary in 2017, I was doing the market research. I was figuring out, pricing, positioning. I actually found the house that I wanted to buy. I was selling my own house and buying at the same time, and ended up writing a $50,000 check at the end and said, "This is out of control for what I actually just did. Maybe $500, but 50,000." So fast forward a year, we sell our company, and I had about 20 ideas. This one just came right to the top because it's such a big factor for home affordability for if you take Canada and also the United States, 70% of our net worth as Canadians is tied up in our home. So to give away 30, 40, $50,000 of cash when we transact in a market that is fundamentally now digital and has been for some time, for over 10 years. All the shopping's online, all the information's available online. Why do we need two brokers in order to transact a property? So that's where the company started, with that purpose. And as you mentioned, 3,000 transactions later, through a combination of consumers and large enterprise customers, we're now venture funded. We're across most of Canada, have our sights set on the United States. So it's been an interesting ride because we started right at the beginning of COVID and went through that whole swing. And in real estate markets, the last 5 years have been tied for the most volatile in the last 50.
Absolutely.
At particular points. So I looked a lot younger than this 5 years ago.
No, that's incredible. I can attest again, I'm the American on the Boast team. So I live in Boston. It's been a terrible housing market as long as I've been alive, more or less.
Yeah.
But affordability and especially the volatility during the pandemic is something that, yeah, I saw firsthand. I still rent. I would love to get into the home ownership game, obviously, get some equity in a property and have that be mine, but it's taking some time. Affordability is a huge issue just across the board. But I think the other point too that you even outlined was just the inefficiencies in the processes too. Like it's already a painful process. Take the just like larger macroeconomics and microeconomics out of the equation, the broker to broker of it all. It's just like there's redundancies. There are just inefficiencies across the board. So let's make what is already a frightening process to some people a little less painful, I think. And I love that you're able to do that too in almost like a B2B to C way. So like, yeah, getting the minutia out of the way for some of those broker interactions, but ultimately making it so that a human who wants to buy property is able to do it without going gray like I have. So yeah,
Exactly. Well, and you have and to me, you elevate the experience by
yeah,
having it in one one platform where everything is managed, everything is real time.
Hmm.
You have the convenience of, you think of most people, their recollection, because they sold 7 years ago, so they're trying to remember what that was. If you sell with an agent, they don't actually, they don't show your property.
Yeah.
So that there's no difference there. The way that the market actually functions is buyer searches for property online, buyer contacts whoever's the seller. In our models, it's the seller itself versus themselves versus a realtor.
Hmm.
Interaction happens, buyer very discriminating based on looking at the property. They do their walkthrough. It either fits or it doesn't. And then a deal happens or it doesn't. But it isn't a sales job,
Right.
so to speak, right? The selling broker isn't selling the property, they're posting it online, where all these listings are, which is what we do as well. And then now you have the person that cares about that last $50,000 of equity, fully connected to buyers. They know their home better than anybody because they live there. They know why they bought it. They have the emotion and the passion that goes with that.
Hmm.
So it's really not as scary as it sounds. It's actually simpler than it's
Yeah.
been made to sound, because the market is now online, and it's not. You don't need to be a professional salesperson. You're not selling the property. You're picking the price, and then you're agreeing on offers, and that's it.
That's I'm thinking back to shout out to my landlord, Brian, who was below me in Boston. When I went to look at this place, I love my apartment. Again, love it. I had a broker who literally was just following me and Brian around on the showing. Brian's like, "Oh, I updated that. I put this new molding up there. I redid the whole kitchen." I was like, "Wow, you love it." Me and him were shooting the shit. Pardon my French, but that guy was just standing there, and then I had to pay him for showing me the
Right.
place when he didn't show me the place. I had a very passionate person who was he had invested in the property, he made the deal, we clicked, and it was also that, I think, personality fit too. It's
Yeah.
different when it's a renting scenario, obviously, but I mean, I think taking that middleman out of the situation to the effect that they're a middleman. This isn't to say that every real estate broker is cut from the same cloth, but
Right.
that was my personal experience.
Yeah.
And that makes me, again, not want to go look for new apartments,
Right.
even if I'm happy where I'm at, but it's a
Well,
disincentive. Yeah.
and we hear that story often, or that a similar story often,
Yeah.
and we didn't start the company on the basis of thinking real estate agents are bad. We
Exactly.
just looked at a system that is doesn't have competition. Everybody charges the same amount of money,
Hmm.
right? It's the same. It's the same in Alberta wide, like by province, as it is Ontario, as it is BC within those provinces. Similar states in the United States,
Yep.
they have the same regulatory environment. The way it's all set up at a national level and a state level. So I just looked at it and said there is a complete lack of modernization of the experience here, and for a segment of the market that would really want this kind of experience, they're also going to make 15 to $20,000 more
Hmm.
at a time when we have huge affordability pressures, unaffordability pressures, and inflation in the rest of our lives. So that really is the passion behind where the company started.
Hmm.
Where we're going is gets a lot, I would say, a lot more interesting because AI, or just talking about the knowledge and the availability of data and decision making, is more powerful already today, than a human can be.
Yep.
Because you're aggregating, you mentioned macro, micro data, right? You have property level data, you have all of the inside of the home and upgrades, and you combine all these facets of location and attributes within that location and property classes, and all of that can be understood instantly by AI in a more you're basically combining a PhD in economics with an expert in construction, with a realtor that has local feel,
Yep.
with a sage, just a wise person that is objective and thinking about your interests.
Hmm.
You're combining like five capabilities in an instant 24/7 access to information. So for us, AI is a huge transformation in this industry. For a real estate agent to use it, it's a small incremental gain because they are the IP, right? They are the
Absolutely.
intelligence. So we are where we see this world going. It is platform plus AI to fully automate your experience and give you the absolute best intelligence you can't get from a human
Yeah.
is where the world is going in the next 5 years.
I love how you phrase that, especially as like that agent is the IP. I don't kill me, listeners. I gotta draw the simpatico and the ethos that is shared with Boast because that's very similar to how our platform operates. We aren't taking that expertise out of the equation, but we're using AI to make our experts better at what they do.
Right.
So it's not sending your shred claim over to an AI platform that's just going to pull it all together for you. Because if it does that, there are products on the market that do that. It's checking boxes. It doesn't actually speak the technical language. It doesn't actually understand. Again, it's almost like that local feel too. Every single R&D project is unique, and you need to be
Right.
able to speak that technical vernacular. That's not something someone in finance can do. And at the same time, someone in tech can't speak the finance language. So giving that expert on our Bose team the superpowers to be able to be very efficient and again to streamline the process and actually drive better claims, similar to again how it's just probably a better fit in the actual property
Yeah.
for the buyer too at the end of the day.
Well, and so with this power, and this is part of the original vision as well. Of course, we've proven the transaction works very well. We've done 3,000 of them. Homeowners and enterprise customers are making more money, love the experience, more efficient.
Yeah.
It's just a elevation in that respect. So check there. We've proven that. Where we want to take this and where we think an even bigger opportunity is to build on that is the life cycle ownership value of your home. Right. So now you own the property. What are all the ways that you can optimize your biggest asset in a way that is predictive, decision grade level quality, and ready for you to take action? For example, 50% of people renovate their home.
Right.
How do they make the decision on kitchen upgrade versus finish the basement versus new garage door versus, right?
Yeah.
How do they make that call? Well, the vast majority of people, it's feel, it's what they want
Yep.
to do, but it's not contemplating, well, if this home in this community, this property type has this and this price band, has an upgraded kitchen, you can double your money on that investment versus this garage door is like a 30% return,
Right.
right? So you still might do the garage door if that's what you want to do, but the intelligence now exists in this, what we call our intelligence layer, to make really smart decisions about what makes the most sense for your asset and at the same time what you want to do personally. Obviously, there's about 10 big categories of that.
Mhm.
There's what is my short-term rental value at what seasonality, long-term rental. If I decide to rent my basement, what does that look like? What does my overall picture look like? Can I pull out some equity? My property's appreciated. How much equity? If I need to refinance and move money around for this renovation or other investments, what are my options? How do I best do that? So we see when you combine all of that intelligence to your specific home, your typical Canadian property can make $50,000 to $60,000 more, or call it financial benefit through cost savings, through income generation, and through value maximization, just by having our free service that's live in beta. But over the next 5 years, this will all become, I believe, a huge change to the homeownership journey.
Yeah, and it's a one-stop shop for so many different stakeholders too. I think that's what's really interesting here. There isn't just one persona who can get value from this platform. It is, I mean, like that whole home buyer scenario that you outlined there, where it's like, pick the most valuable renovation. Like, sure, if you're going to stay in your house forever and you want the kitchen of your dreams, go make the kitchen of your dreams. If you want to turn a guest room into a luxury suite for a big bath or something like that, go for it. But if you're being strategic about your investment and what you want to get out of the property when you offload it, it's great for that individual. It's great for the buyer. It just brings it all into one-stop shop. I know that's, again, I'm using and abusing jargon here, but it's true. Going back a little bit too, you had mentioned your founding team. And obviously, again, you had said that you started at the beginning of the pandemic. I applaud you for taking on that risk. At the same time, too, I was talking to Omar and even Sebastian beforehand, just about how like the pandemic changed where people want to be. I'm fully remote right now. I live in Boston. It's not cost effective. I don't know why I didn't move to Calgary because apparently there was great real estate up here. All of my coworkers have been telling me. But you also had a similar team at a previous job and you brought them with you here. That's another thing that has actually turned up to be a theme of these podcasts that I'm recording here in Calgary. It's people who have met the people they want to be their family. Now, of course, no job is legitimately a family. We all have real lives. But you are going to be in the trenches with these people, and you want to make sure that you're comfortable being in the trenches with these people. And tell me a little bit about just like why these personalities were the ones that were going to come with you for this new journey and what you should be looking for when you're building that early team.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you say family because in this case, some of them actually are
Literally
family,
family. I
and
love it.
others
Yeah.
are very much like family. So
Uh,
we started. To me, you want to build a team first with skills. It's not who your close friends are. It's not who your best closest family members are. It's what what is this particular vision of this business?
Yep.
What skill set do I need with boxes,
Mhm.
so to speak, of skill set? Then you say, with that in mind, who are people I want to go to war with and also have those skills? So that's what we did with this business. So my sister, actually from Axia, our previous exit, joined as the chief marketing officer. The broker that helped me buy and sell the property
Yep.
in my example, he joined.
Love it.
so so a close
Perfect.
friend of mine, and to his total credit, he agreed with me in that $50,000 at the time. Right? He's like, "Yeah, it's crazy. It's gotten out of control." And then the other founder was actually my university roommate, brilliant career in consulting, and worked at King for Candy Crush, and has all called the quantitative and strategic and growth skills to complement the team. So that's the way we looked at it. I was also a bit unique in that my previous company, not mine, one that I was part of, small shareholder in,
Love it.
had a really good board.
Mm.
So I was, as a senior executive in that business, I was exposed to that board pretty regularly and saw how powerful it was to have that high quality of team at that level. So I was a bit unique in that, and we as a team were unique in that I started with a board.
Mhm.
Like day one, we had 3 directors, myself included, and then we now have 4. Um, but really wanted the gray hair in the room
Yep.
that now joins my gray hair, but having the
Right there with you, Robert. Yes.
silver foxes,
Yeah.
to have that guidance right from day one on how to think through all of these challenges. The challenge we took on is massive. It's one of the biggest challenges left in tech, right? Real estate industry is one of the biggest in the world, and this challenge has been around for decades. So I knew I wanted as many smart people surrounding this and part of this and passionate about it from day one, rather than kind of leaning on part-time advisors and other folks formalize it. And
Mhm.
then when we're set up to scale, then we've got the team, as opposed to we don't start we start with a very small or non-advisory group, and then we kind of add it on as we're scaling and build that way. So to each their own.
Yeah.
I liked that style for this situation, for the team and the quality of directors and management we had, but that was the way I looked at it.
Yeah, and I think to your point about like formalizing it early on too, like they have a vested interest. They have skin in the game from the get-go, which again, like Bose has been around for a long time, but I don't think that's dissimilar from how we really
Mhm.
built our company. Shout out to Lloyd, who I'm going to be seeing in Austin next week. But him and Alex and the original founding crew, they built an awesome company. It's a different team today, but to your point about the board too, we've had a board as long as I've worked at Boast,
Yeah.
and they've been a very active and
Mhm.
engaged board, which is not something I was familiar with. I've been in the startup space more or less, journalism background. I was in marketing, so less like in house, but our board, they get their hands dirty. Garrett, he's been my marketing like go-to. Shout out. Hopefully he's listening. And hopefully I'm not speaking out of class talking about the structure of the organization. So might have to cut some of this, but I love when, to your point, like I think they feel like they have a vested interest too, because I can reach out to them. I'm not in our SLT on a formal basis, but I can reach out to the board. I can reach out to Lloyd,
Mhm.
our CEO Ahmad, even today. Like it's purely a horizontal organization, but we all feel ownership of what we do. And I think that's something that's really critical, maybe the unspoken thing here too.
Yeah, if you don't, and said another way, if you're the CEO and you don't have a board when you start, you're a king.
Yep.
right? You have no,
Yeah.
if you have the biggest shareholding and you have nobody to answer to, then
Hmm.
you're building a kingdom, so to speak, in the early days. Like I say, teach their own. I just looked at that as I liked also being accountable
Yeah.
myself to the board. Now everybody is accountable.
Hmm.
Board's accountable to shareholders. I'm accountable to the board and shareholders. Management's accountable to myself and the board through and very, very much engaged in all those conversations as well. I wanted to have that collaboration
Right.
happen as often as possible. So I just thought from a team culture perspective, I liked creating the accountability across the board
Hmm.
that creates equality, so to speak, and a different team environment.
I love that. And again, it makes you better. If you're working in a vacuum, if you have your king hat on and you're plebes, don't come to me. Come on. That's not going to actually advance the product. That's not how you innovate. Yeah, I'm trying to stop myself from tying it back to R&D tax credits just because I'm even thinking about like that claim process. It's not the same as like a board scenario, but like the government has to vet what you're doing, and then they'll say, this is tackling technological uncertainty, for instance. I think having that similar gut check at every stop, no matter how high you are up in the company, it's good. And it's also a cycle too, because the
Yeah.
board also gets the feedback from you. Again, hopefully I'm not stepping in it by referencing our board so much, but I think that's a good point to make. And it's also just a different structure than a lot of what the conversations have been recently.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that we could cover that. Now, I'd love to know, we did talk about kind of what's on the roadmap, but over the next year, 2 years even, what's going to be next for Bōde?
Yeah. I think our belief is if you kind of take a step back or look back the last 10 to 15 years in prop tech, so
Mhm.
property technology,
Yeah.
um, about $15 billion has been burned on these various models of trying to create competition or adjust or um, disrupt this space.
Hmm.
And a lot of that's gone into the iBuyer model. You'd probably be familiar with
Yep.
Open Door in the US. So
Oh, yeah.
they will buy your house and you will pay them 5% commission, but you get to walk away with a check. So ultimate convenience, but you're ultimately getting, it's an expensive transaction and it's going to be typically below market because that they need some cushion so that when they resell that property, they can make some money at it.
Yeah.
I always thought that was a extremely risky, balance sheet heavy approach to solving this problem.
Hmm.
When we started the company, Open Door was doing its thing. Zillow then got into it.
Yeah.
There's others in it. Um, and they've all since pivoted or exited comprehensively that way. So a lot of money has been spent and burned there. In my mind, if you have an algorithm that can predict the real estate market, then you should sell that. Don't
Yeah.
don't buy the house. Sell that algorithm. Of course, nobody has that. AI might be stepping in and facilitating that, but that model's been kind of disproven. The hybrid model is the other one. Redfin or Purple Brick. Some of these, you get a real estate agent in a call center, kind of half tech, half human experience. Those companies have consultative unit economics. They're not able to make even Redfin with 1% of the United States market adoption, which is impressive, still can't turn a profit
Yeah.
because they can't scale the human. So you go back in time, of course, that company's since been acquired and they're amalgamated, vertically integrated. So it's just clear to me the next 5 years are platform, next 5 to 10 years and beyond is platform plus AI
Yeah.
in this space. Just AI, like if you just have generative AI, for example, you have one of the big LLMs, you can have at the property market level, it's decent at understanding the market,
Yeah.
but it doesn't understand your specific property
Mhm.
because it doesn't have that data. So because we are technically licensed, we have all the property information about that unit, about comparable listings, active listings, sold listings, all of the best information. And we've created this proprietary AI with all of that in mind. So leveraging the best LLMs blended with our platform, blended with the best data to produce your specific property insights. And that is this homeowner dashboard that we have live in beta today. But that is the thrust of our strategy going forward. for, as you mentioned earlier, anybody, whether you're a new home buyer, you're a builder that is trying to maximize the value of this new build, you're a property investor, you don't live in the property, but you're making all of these decisions around how do I time the sale at the right time, or charge for rent, or make upgrades that make sense to the value of the property, or refinance, or change my utility provider. All of those dimensions are then taken care of. And then now you're ready to sell. Typically, that's every 7 years for North Americans. Now you've got all of that information, all of that understanding, all of that regular value with the property, and you're a button click away from selling it.
Yeah.
So, and to me, the elevation of the industry should be all of those decisions I'm discussing should also be documented and go with the asset, so the buyer knows this guy maintained the furnace every 6 months, or this, nobody does that, but or this upgrade was made with these materials. Great. If I need to make any adjustments, I know what was paid for there, what was done there, and so on and so forth. So now you have a total picture of the property, versus today it's an inspection and a 2-hour walkthrough, and you hope that there aren't too many skeletons in the closet.
Yep.
So it's really driving transparency and integrity to the home. And ultimately, when you do decide to sell, now the market is functioning the right way because it's got transparency on the key things.
Yeah. And it's a single source of truth that really can't be contested because, again, you're keeping all the receipts. Thinking about the home inspection, like you're saying, that might miss something. And then you find out, I'm not going to say lead paint, God forbid, but like there were skeletons in the closet. Literally know where those are. And I just think, to your point, that's going to change fundamentally how the industry works. And I think it's exciting. It's high time for it. I didn't realize I'd be talking to so many founders who are building solutions that immediately need to come to the States, because we need to improve these processes and we need to transform this industry from the top down. And yeah, I won't get into the cross-border politics of it all, of the market in Boston versus Calgary, but yes, we need this simplified.
Well, it's always been a vision of a part of our business plan is to expand to the United States because same problems.
Exactly.
In fact, commissions are actually higher there, which is interesting because it's a much more competitive market in general, like in the broad call it economy.
Totally.
But on this particular topic, it's been iBuyers and these hybrid guys I talked about that have gone away. And there's big litigations happening against the associations and realtors and big brokerages, big settlements, multi-billion-dollar settlements have happened in the US. Those same litigations are happening in Canada.
Yep.
So it's basically customers saying, come on, we got to move. This is 2026 and we're living in 1970 right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's not even taking into account just the past 5 years and like how that has changed everything. 6 years. God, it's 2026. Well, Robert, this has been incredible. I'm really excited about this solution. Again, we've stumbled on a theme here that I wasn't expecting on my visit to the Tech Thursday studio, more or less. It's all about making sure that, again, you can level the playing field for people, you can drive efficiencies with the processes, but you're also talking to many different stakeholders to just get that holistic, industry-changing new solution out into the market. So this has been fantastic. I can't thank you enough for joining me, Robert.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun.